Hello and welcome to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner, and with me today is Dr. Elsie Harold-Lands, Senior Director for Student Support Services, and we're going to talk about Norfolk Public Schools Wellness Campaign. But first, welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you for having me.
And welcome to a new school year.
Thank you.
Yes. So NPS is taking wellness very seriously for our students and our staff members, and your office is going to be instrumental in implementing some of the wellness campaign things that are going to be coming up, our initiatives. So tell us about the wellness campaign. What is that?
The wellness campaign involves a variety of different areas in Norfolk Public Schools, and as you mentioned, the Department of Student Support Services is working in collaboration with a number of other areas with health and PE, particularly with school nutrition, with school counseling, and we'll be working with our psychologists and social workers and other partners in the district to make sure that our students are healthy and well and prepared for school.
Mm-hmm. So really a little deeper, why are we doing this now?
We think that it's very important in terms of readiness for school, in terms of lifelong learning and achievements for students throughout their careers, that being healthy and continuing to be well, and that we as such an important part in the lives of children, we think that it's important to make awareness a big piece of what we do and to make sure that it's incorporated into our daily activities.
Mm-hmm. So what type of programs are falling under your category of what you do for wellness initiatives?
In our particular department, we work very closely with the School Health Advisory Committee to the school board. We also work with school nutrition in terms of many things that they do in preparing our children and making sure that our students and staff members are fed in a healthy manner each day. We work very closely with health and PE also, and there are a number of policies particularly that our department under the wellness umbrella is closely involved with. Besides our most recent wellness policy that deals with a number of those areas that I mentioned about school nutrition and health and PE, but we also have a policy dealing with suicide prevention and postvention, and our department is instrumental in making sure that the activities related to both of those policies and a number of others are in place, and that all of the activities are connected for students to benefit from those particular areas.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned suicide awareness, so bully prevention and safety falls under your department too.
Yes, bullying prevention, not a new term obviously, but something that we pay very close attention to in our department and our district, as well as many people across the nation. We think that it's important that school students, staff members are safe, that our environments are as free from bullying activities as much as possible, and that our students are safe and prepared and feel comfortable in school. We also deal with areas involving some support for mental health for students, and we look at that as another piece of the big umbrella dealing with wellness and health in our school district.
Can you give us a brief history as to where this all came from, what wellness campaign came from?
Yes, the wellness campaign, again, not a new term, but something that the school board and Norfolk Public Schools, students and staff have worked together over the last couple of years, particularly with a lot of focus on the areas. I want to make sure that I share that while not a new term, and again, some of our partners, Ms. Helen Phillips and school nutrition staff, as well as Mr. Derek Person from Health and PE, and many other people, our health and PE staff members across the district. Also, there are lots of staff members and students and families who feel that wellness is a big part of what we should be doing, and the district is on board with all of that. And so we have, particularly over the last couple of years, done a lot of work related to different areas of the policies, both policies dealing with suicide prevention and postvention as wellness were approved within the last year or so, and we're very excited about bringing a lot more awareness to those particular areas and making sure that our different departments and partners in the community and the school system are connected.
Mm-hmm. And I know we're coming up on suicide awareness campaign that's going to be kicked off soon.
Yes, and so we have a new position. Ms. Dion Mack is our Safe Schools Specialist, and while she's focusing on a number of areas, suicide prevention and postvention is one of the main areas, and she is helping us across the district do a lot of different activities and helping us kick the week off. And so she's worked with our psychologists, social workers, school counselors, and other staff members to make sure that we have the information that we need and to help support the different components of the policy.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have her on our third segment to talk about that Suicide Awareness Week. That's going to be September 10th to the 14th on this particular show. So great, we're going to have her on here.
Yes.
So, but what messages are you trying to share with students and staff and parents about wellness?
One of the most important pieces is that we want to make sure that people know that Norfolk Public Schools is a key partner in all of this, and we feel that students being well and healthy and safe, that's an integral part of what we do. Yes, academics, but all of those things are important to make sure that our students are prepared for learning each day.
So again, it comes to why is it important to have a wellness campaign for our students?
We think that it's important because we want to, from very early in the lives of students as well as far into their careers, that we believe that this is not a separate part of their education, but just something that we want everyone to make a part of their daily lives. And so we realize that many people outside of the school district, families and students in their homes currently do that, and we want to just make sure that we are seen as an important partner in that, because being safe and healthy and well, very important components to be successful today and beyond for children.
And this is important that we're doing this. So how are we going to get the word out to the parents and the staff and the students about what we're doing to encourage them to become well and be well?
We appreciate opportunities like this, as well as working with other staff members in our communications department, connecting with partners within the community who have similar interests within Norfolk, as well as their nationwide opportunities and partners in terms of what we think we should focus on in this particular campaign. We think that a wellness campaign is important for our time. We think that we should put this information in front of people and make it easy for wellness to be easy, for healthy students and families to be an easy thing, and just a natural fit in terms of continuing to create and support healthy learning environments for students.
And all of this information can be on the website, our www.npsk12.com/student support services, your website.
Yes, we have some information up there, and we're always updating things. We want to make sure that we have a variety of different ways that we share information with students and families, and there will be different documents and pieces to the policy that we will share in our handbooks, as well as other materials that we plan to prepare and distribute over the course of the year and beyond that.
Great. Thank you for coming on the show to talk about our new wellness campaign. And I know that students, staff, and parents are going to look forward to learning more information and resources about it. So thank you for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me.
And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmo, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today in the studio, we have a special guest from Portsmouth Public Schools. We have Vince Pugh, the Citywide Athletic Director. Vince, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay. Vince, we got you down here to talk a little bit about the partnership that Norfolk and Portsmouth shares with middle school sports. And so let's talk about that. About the partnership. So tell us a little bit about this partnership that we have.
Well, the partnership allows our school division, which only had 3 middle schools, to actually play a true schedule. Imagine us trying to go round robin with 3 teams in football. So with the 7 teams from Norfolk and the 3 from Portsmouth, then we actually have a full 6-game schedule, which culminates into a semifinal and a final game, which is great for our school division.
Okay, so we got involved with Portsmouth probably about 2009, where we started middle school football. You guys were starting middle school football. We had our 7-team league, or we had an 8-team league then, because we had Rosemont playing, and then you had the 3. So the winner from our division played the winner from your division. And then when we had, some reduction in schools, that we went to 7 schools, then, the conversation with Sharon Moore and I, we decided to kind of marry this league together to create a 10-team league. And you talk about the conferences, how they're set up.
Well, the conferences are set up perfectly to me, because the 3 Portsmouth schools are in one conference, and the 2 Norfolk schools nearest to where we reside, which will be Ruffner and Blair, they're the easiest ones for us to get to. right through the either tunnel, midtown or downtown tunnel. So it really works real well that we're in a conference with those two Norfolk schools.
Okay, and then so the other division, the North Division, is the 5 remaining Norfolk schools. So,
Yes.
The format, they have, they play their 2 non-conference games.
Yes.
And then they go into conference play, and then the winners come out of that. The top 2 from each conference get into that tournament.
Yes.
So talk about, what's kind of some of the reaction from the administrative standpoint, from the principals, the athletic directors, and even the student involvement? I mean, is there excitement with football?
Well, there is this year because we actually have some teams, at least one team that will be in the playoffs. But the kids, they enjoy it. I mean, the camaraderie we have with, and the collaboration between our divisions has been great. The principals endorse it. They're there at the games. Our middle schools, just like your middle schools, we have great participation. We have several hundred parents that come out. We have our bands, we have cheerleaders and all the auxiliary things that go along with the football game. And even some of the schools we have do an actual homecoming.
Okay.
So it's a great experience.
All right. So, we got football down. I mean, that's a well-oiled machine that's running. It's been a successful partnership. And with that, so, we started looking at each other's opportunities. And the other thing that we match up with is track.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about what we do with our track programs.
Well, with the track programs, we actually, like you said, you have a regular season, we have a regular season, and then we come together into one big, what we call Norfolk Portsmouth Challenge championship meet. And in that championship meet, the top 6 kids per event from Norfolk and Portsmouth, we merge and we have a meet, and it has been a huge success, because the winners are the top 3 or 4 kids out of that. Somehow or another always end up being the next group of athletes that you hear about and read about on the next level when they get to high school.
Okay. All right. So we had, again, that's running fairly well with track. So looking down the line, what else do you think we could potentially match up with and bring some excitement to, middle school athletics?
Well, I mean, we really want to look at, stuff like basketball and maybe wrestling. We do have, the way your guys' schedule is set up, with, winter 1 and winter 2, where we're more traditional, we have fall, winter, and then spring. So, at some point we got to collaborate and maybe match up some of the seasons, the other seasons. Like we play baseball in the spring, you play, softball in the spring, you play softball in the fall. So, we eventually be able to match up some of the other sports seasons to where we can, and even volleyball. We have volleyball for girls and boys, and it's going really well. But once again, you're only playing the same 2 teams twice.
Okay.
It would be wonderful if we could, we could add something like that.
And we will sit down and talk about those to try to figure out something, because this 10-team league gives that opportunity to play different people is always good. So one other sport that we forgot, and we don't want to slight them, is cheering. Our cheer competition has been a huge success.
Yes.
With inviting the Portsmouth schools over in our annual spring event there. So that's another one that we have a good partnership going on.
Absolutely, and we definitely would like to continue that.
Okay. So looking down, our athletes, are the next step is high school. So again, it's kind of a natural thing because we are the Eastern District as well.
Absolutely.
So what is it? How do we see that? The Eastern District's back. So talk a little bit about the importance of having the district concept back.
Well, the importance of the district concept is, once again, Norfolk Portsmouth are very similar cities as far as the demographics of the city. So, the challenges you have in Norfolk, we have the same challenges in Portsmouth. So, I think that the Eastern District, just being Norfolk and Portsmouth, our kids are very similar. Our styles, our seasons are the same with the high school. We've been actually in the Eastern District. There was just this little separation for 4 years when the conferences came along, but we would still play some Eastern District things. So those old rivalries are really being rekindled now that we're back with our high schools just playing Eastern District regular season schedules.
We're excited to have the Eastern District back. We know there's
Yes.
going to be, again, some great rivalries. We're going to get to, for basketball, we're going to get that Booker T. Norcom game twice.
Yes.
We're going to get that Maury Booker T. game twice. All the games are going to be the double round robin format. So we're excited about that. So in Portsmouth, as the citywide AD, what does athletics, sports mean to the student population in Portsmouth?
Over there? Well, it's a very integral part of the student's life, and our activities as well. Our kids are more motivated to come to school. They're more motivated to stay in school. They're more motivated to get their grades up beyond a C, because we have a 2.0 average as you do minimum standard to be able to participate. And, it's just a lot of life lessons that they learn through athletics and activities that they wouldn't get anywhere else.
Okay.
And, our parents are excited about it. Our schools, the school spirit, we're the drivers of the school spirit. Athletics, that's the same way everywhere.
Okay. Well, same way in Norfolk. It's an integral part of the school day, of the school atmosphere.
Yes.
And we're always promoting that sportsmanship.
Absolutely.
For our student athletes. So it's a big deal everywhere.
Yeah, and no better place to learn sportsmanship than on the playing field.
Sure. Well, Vince, a lot of good information. We look forward to our continued partnership.
Yes.
And I thank you for coming down here.
All right, thank you.
All right, more NPS Now after this.
Welcome back to NPS Now. With us today is Dion Mack. She is our Safe School Specialist and also our Suicide Awareness Coordinator in the Student Support Services Department. Welcome, Ms. Mack, to NPS Now.
Thank you for having me.
I am glad to have you on the show today. We want to learn a little bit about you first. So tell us about your role as a Safe School Specialist and what does that kind of entail?
Well, again, I'm a part of the Department of Student Support Services, and I'm not new to NPS. I was a second grade teacher for 12 years prior to starting this position in March of this year. So a little bit about what I'm doing as a Safe School Specialist. It allows me the opportunity to continue to work with students and within schools, but to also work with community resources to provide information and awareness to our students and staff about suicide awareness and prevention.
This is great. So under the wellness campaign, under Student Support Services, you handle the suicide awareness. Explain to us, what does that entail with suicide awareness?
Well, what we want to do is we don't want suicide or the issue of suicide. As we know, it's a pretty heavy mental health topic. We want to approach it from the position of mental health wellness. And we want to make sure that each of our students that comes to school every day has the opportunity to function and to learn and thrive in an environment that they feel safe and that they feel well and that they know they are supported. So really what suicide prevention and awareness is doing is hoping to make sure that we provide our students and our staff with resources and information and intervention to know who to go to should they need help, how to access the help, and where it is. And that's what the awareness and the suicide awareness program is truly basically all about.
That's great. That's great. So I understand you have a Suicide Awareness Week. When is that, and what's going to be happening during that time?
September 9th through 15th, that really busy week when everybody's first coming back and everybody's all getting adjusted. And it's a good time to say adjusted because we know it can be stressful. So, and that's one of the things that we want to highlight during our Suicide Awareness Week and the activities that we do, that 9th through the 15th is about how to make sure we maintain our stress levels and stay mentally healthy. And those are a lot of the things that we'll be talking about that week during our campaign.
Yeah, you mentioned to me when we had a conversation before the show about a theme that you have called SAFE.
Right, yeah, we're very excited about that. SAFE is suicide awareness for everyone. And again, I'm glad you had me here because it gives me an opportunity to share this. This is not just student focused, this is for everyone throughout the district. All of our staff, all of our support professionals, is to support everyone. So the SAFE is for students and staff. We want to make sure that during this week that student and staff become aware of, again, how they can access resources. aligning those resources to students' need and to staff needs. We have several professionals within our district. If someone is in need or someone is hurting or someone is in crisis, they can access that support, and we want to make sure that our folks know who those people are. And the F of it is to flag our administrators, that they know, oh, if we have a student in crisis, because in our buildings, our administrators and our teachers and our cafeteria staff, our custodians, our resource officers, they know when someone might be here, because we know our kids. We do a really good job in Norfolk about knowing our children and supporting them, so they can flag administrators when there might be someone who they feel might need some support. And lastly, with the E, we want to make sure that all the expectations are set forth and that we are using those resources appropriately.
Yeah, I love how you have the word SAFE and you break down that acronym, SAFE. What is it? Suicide awareness for everyone.
everyone, yes.
And then, I mean, aligning and address the resources. I took notes when we were talking earlier. That is awesome, and that's important. So it helps students, staff, and parents to kind of know what we're doing and the resources to connect to them to help them help their child or get help for other children too.
Yes, and that's a big piece, and I'm so glad you shared that, because it's not just the child or the person or the staff even that's in crisis. We want to do the whole awareness, because not only do we want the person that is in need to be able to know that yes, resources and assistance is available, but if you see a coworker or if you're a student and you have a friend that might be experiencing something, you're noticing some differences in them, to be able to use the SAFE to know that, okay, I cannot, it's not for me, but I can help somebody else.
Yes, that is key. That is key. So how do you hope to accomplish this with parents? How do you hope to get the attention of the parents and the students with this? How are you going to roll this plan out?
Well, we're really excited that week of September 9th through 15th, our teachers will have had some training in this area to know the protocols. We spent a good portion of our time this summer making sure that that information will be available for our teachers and staff, all staff. So if they see someone that is, again, that may be needing help, and if you just have a feeling, or you just, you know, sometimes you just have to go with your gut. And a lot of times in dealing with suicide, it's such a heavy topic, we want to talk about it, but we don't know how to talk about it.
Right.
So what we're hoping to do during this week is to provide information about how that can be done. Again, the teachers will have had training, all faculty and staff will have training, that information. We're going to also be, we've been really excited this year, we've got information that will be more quickly accessible through the NPS website, and we're going to just really try to make sure that these resources are made as broadly known as they can be. We're going to advertise the hotline number. Folks will know who's available in their building.
Yeah, what's that hotline number?
It's 1-800-273-TALK, and that is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. And we're going to also we're in the process of working with some local resources too, through the Norfolk Community Services Board, and those things will be finalized and forthcoming in that week.
So visually, what are some of the things you're going to do to get the word out?
Oh, this is what I'm so glad you asked about. This is what we're really excited about. There's been an opportunity for some of our star athletes and coaches. They have done a great poster that we're really excited about getting out. They'll be in all elementary, middle, and high schools. The posters will, and again, this is for everyone. The SAFE program is for everyone. So we were really excited that we had several members of our schools, teams, and staff that were willing to participate and become part of that advertising campaign. So you'll see posters involving, again, our cafeteria staff, our school counselors, principals, students, the students, and the football players, the coaching staff, because we wanted to know that this is just for everyone. So you'll see the posters out. We're going to try to initiate a social media campaign, PSAs. I'm glad that you were able to have us here today with this information. We'll have different items for the students that they'll see being come into their classrooms that they can take in. And again, we don't want to rely so heavily when we know that our students might be experiencing problems and stressors and sad, but we want to really try to approach it from wellness. So if we keep everybody well, then hopefully we can safeguard against crisis.
And I know during that week we're going to recap that again and share, I think you have an email address too.
Oh yes, thank you. It is safeschools@npsk.com. It's very new.
It's probably safeschools@npsk12.com.
Yes, K12.com. Thank you. Thank
I just
you very
love
much.
how these
Yes.
email addresses, but we'll definitely make sure that week that we'll share that information
Thank
with
you
the
so
parents.
very
I'm
much.
excited for you. I'm excited for our
you.
school district and our parents, because as we really take this hard and important look at suicide awareness and share this information with them so they'll know where to go to get resources and more information from the elementary to the secondary level.
Right. I'm so glad about it because, statistically, nationally, from 15 to 24-year-olds, it's the second leading cause of death amongst children in that age group, or young people in that age group. It's the same with 10 to 14-year-olds. But with my work, I found as well that nationally, it's 11th for children who have not reached adolescence. So we might say, well, while we rolling out in elementary schools, it's all of our children are impacted by it or have the potential to be impacted by it. And I'm glad that Norfolk Public Schools has thought enough to put people like myself in positions to approach it from an area of wellness, so we don't have to, we're trying to avoid the crisis. We want our children, this not to be a barrier to their learning, so they can come in and feel safe and secure and happy in their environment and not having additional stress to get them to this. So,
well, thank you for sharing SAFE with us.
Thank you.
And we know we'll hear more about this program throughout the school year. So thank you for joining us today on NPS Now.
Thank you so very much for having me. Thank you.
Great. And we want to thank you for watching NPS Now. It airs weekly on WNPS, Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or information you'd like to share, email us at nps_news@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.